Welcome back to the Offroad Genetics YouTube channel. Today, just like the title says and by the thumbnail picture, we are working on our Can-Am X3 again. This is, I guess, you could call it Race Prep 2, but this isn't Race Prep 2. This is its own video. This is going to be only about these springs that I got, as you've seen in the thumbnail and in the title. So, we got lucky enough for Hyperco, or Hypercoil, to be a part of our race program for the 2023 season. I bought their kit. I reached out to them after I bought the kit. I'm like, hey, do you guys need brand ambassadors? Is there anything I can do to kind of help out and maybe have a future thing in, 2024, 2025? They're like, yeah, here you go. Here's a logo. Be a brand ambassador. Make content for us. So, that's exactly what I'm doing. So today, I've already kind of started. One-man band here. I don't have anyone helping me do racing stuff or help work on the Can-Am. So as you see, I've kind of got this thing all the way apart. Not all the way apart, but I've got the front coilover off and a rear coilover off. It's on jack stands. It is safe. As you see, the door's off. I'm doing a bunch of other stuff, but you can shake this thing and it's not going anywhere. Reason I left the rear wheel on and not the front wheel is I needed the front to droop. I had to take off the steering. And I also have some stuff to do in the front end that'll be hopefully the next video. I'm really kind of starting to stress out about it. I got 3 weeks till this race. I ordered some parts last week. The spring showed up and the other part is, I'll just say it. I bought a Halo front diff. This diff in here is actually cracked. On the top there's JB Weld. Let me get my phone flashlight out. I had the dreaded, so this is an XDS, not an XRS. So if you kind of look in there, let's see. You can't see it, and I'm not going to waste any more time. Oh my goodness, as I turn my flashlight off, and it takes too much time. So last year, race number 2 of our race series that we race in, I had the dreaded ring gear bolts back out, and one went through the case, and 2 of them got into the spider gears, took the spider gears out. Well, last year I couldn't get a Halo diff in time by the time I took this apart and realized what had happened. So I did the old redneck ingenuity and I welded the front diff together. I welded the spider gears all together, so the carrier's shot basically. Spider gears are obviously toast because they're welded to the carrier, and this thing sucks to drive. It's terrible to drive. It's so hard to drive. I've never rolled anything, and I've been racing for 5 years now. Haven't rolled this thing. That race that I had to do all that front end work to just to go, I rolled it 3 times. So that's 3 separate times, not rolled and went 3 rotations. Like rolled it 3 separate times. Rolled in qualifying, rolled on lap 3, and rolled on lap 5. And after that I slowed down because my arms were shot. I still ended up finishing the race, but regardless. So like I said, we have the rear coilover off, we have the front coilover off, we have them over on our handy dandy table here. Here's our Hyperco box with our springs. I have no idea which ones are which yet, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go eat because dinner just got done, so I'm going to go eat dinner with the family quick. And I got a bucket out here with soap and water. It's freezing out here. It's 2 degrees outside. I know you can't see my breath because I'm running one of those trash can heaters out here when I'm not recording. So the first thing I do after I eat is I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna clean these things up, and then get back to you guys and set you up on the tripod and do a quick little time lapse of me taking these springs off. I don't have any of the crazy tools. I know they make a really nice spring compressor for this, but I'm on the average person's budget, and I just have the Harbor Freight spring compressor tool. I've used it on big coil springs on Jeeps and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that I can do this on this. So this video I'm only going to do the fronts. I would love to do a before and after video of me driving it, then coming back, putting these on and doing, but I have 3 weeks till this race. I made a list last night of things I needed to do, and I have 40 hours worth of work to do, and I have 3 weeks to do it. I have a full-time job. I'm a father. I don't have that kind of time. And this weekend, unfortunately, my grandfather passed away 2 weeks ago, so I'm going to his funeral this weekend. So that's another thing. So I have one weekend to get all this done, and then my nights after work. So I'm trying to tackle this stuff as quick as I can and not make it overwhelming. Now, I have one of my wheels over there on the right behind Maverick's little Jeep, and then this thing is gonna stay apart after this kit gets done because we're racing Red Bull Snow Scramble and we're running studs in that race. So I'm not running my 32s, I'm actually gonna run 30 Bighorns, and I'm gonna do a pretty cool comparison with that when I flip-flop those around, because I wanna show you the difference in tire weight, because rotational weight's a huge thing. I wanna show you the difference between a 32 on an aluminum beadlock compared to a 30 on a factory wheel with it's just a Bighorn, nothing crazy, but a 30. So I'm gonna run and eat really quick. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna start cleaning these up, do a time lapse, take these springs off, and then get into the directions and get 2 of these springs put together and get them back on the machine. So I'll catch you back in a minute. Holy camole, this is a bit more of a project that I was anticipating on a night after work. As you've seen at the end of the time lapse, I was smart and put my visor on. I don't know why I didn't in the first place. I'm definitely gonna do it for the front. But now we have the rear shock all cleaned up. Man, I need to get a wide angle lens because I'm pretty far away. So we got the shock all taken apart. Got the springs sitting over there. The Harbor Freight spring puller did pretty good. I definitely like the bigger one. So one thing I made sure to do is clean all of these threads. As you've seen, when I started breaking these loose, they're a little bit tough. They're a bit gummed up there, so I'm gonna hit them again. I was just using a wire wheel on the drill, and then I also found just a wire brush. But I wanted to clean these up because this is a huge thing that gets missed when people are cleaning, is if you're making suspension changes, your coilovers need to be clean, and you need to take care of them, man. They're very expensive. So I'm cleaning them up as best as I can. These things have never been clean, maintained. This thing's got 3,000 miles on it. I haven't owned it that long. I've put 500 miles on it since I've owned it, and they've all been race miles. So it's been ran hard. And of course, this side was the side that it rolled on the most sides, and my oil catch can is on that side. So it's on the passenger side, my oil catch can is. So it drained out through the top filter onto the coilover down, and that's why this one was so dirty and the front's not. So I'm gonna get these ones done. I've got my my instructions or destructions here, and it tells you exactly where to put everything. So position the existing threaded spring platform 4 inches from the top of the shock body, shown in figure A. So we're gonna go and put our rings at the we're gonna go 4 inches, which is crazy. So I forgot to mention in the last clip is I did take measurements of what this sat at ride height. For the front and the rear, I just used points that are equivalent to my setup, so I know. I have a photographic memory and I already remember without having to take the box down that I wrote them on. So the front was 23 7/8, and the rear was 19 7/8. So it had a little bit of raise in the front, which honestly, it was sitting level. I used my winch fair lead on the top because I know that's a position that will not change. And then I used my hook on the back where the S3 thing is. But I want to measure and see where we are at compared to their 4-inch mark. So that'd be a good thing. See what that is. Now, let's take a look here. I can't see the back of the camera. Okay, we can see. So it looks like they were up a little bit, so it looks like they were at 6 1/4. So we're gonna move these up to 4 inches to the bottom of this one here. So when our top shock goes on, it'll go up there. And by the looks, it looks like it gets rid of the tender spring, which I'm not mad about, because if you've seen, oh my goodness, I'm failing today, I'm sorry. But if you've seen in the time lapse, I actually scrunched it down with my hands. I'm gonna set you up right here really quick. So these are the old springs. I have no idea what these spring rates are, but I mean, I get this thing all the way down with my fingers. So it's a tender spring. That's if your suspension moves just a little bit. It's a race car. We don't need that where we're going, baby. We're trying to go fast. So I'm gonna move these to 4 inches, and I'm actually gonna do a little bit more than just move them to 4 inches. So I'm gonna move them to 4 inches, and then install a crossover ring by removing the lock. Don't have to worry about that. Yep, I know how to do that. Which all it's doing is talking about the crossovers that I took off to cleaned all the threads. Now position the crossover ring 8 inches from the top of the shock body. So I'm gonna move the crossover to 8 inches to the to the top of the shock body, and see where we end up. I'm just looking because the figure looks a little bit different. So this must be the cheap style coilover that they have on their picture, because mine doesn't look like that, or might be a new version because mine's 2018, who knows. So I'm going to do 4 inches, 8 inches, and it says the rear ride height should be 18 to 19 inches with stock wheels and tires from ground to lower A-arm bolt. Ride height should be 18 to 19 inches with stock wheels, tires inches from the ground to lower A-arm bolt. Lower A-arm bolt in the rear. We have a trailing arm, we don't have an A-arm. Not to scale, shocks may vary. Okay, so there's that. But I still 8 to 19 inches to your lower A-arm. Are they talking about? I'm talking about this bolt here for your radius rod? Because lower A-arm bolt. I guess that's a fixed point. It's not going to move. So what I measured to was here, and it was 19. It was 19 and 7/8 to the top of this here. So, I mean, that's more than 7/8 there. So this thing should sit up quite a bit more. Yikes, it's already tippy. Good thing we run wheel spacers. I need a 72 wide, but can't afford it. But I'm gonna move these things and get this thing a little cleaned up a little bit more. And once I move these, I will turn the camera back on and show you me installing the springs, which it's a kind of rinse and repeat. But I'm gonna do that really quick and check back in. All right, check it back in. I'm gonna actually get something to show you guys me actually doing something instead of me just talking. So, I went over to my old coilover because this says for your top ring, let's see what it says, because I don't even obviously know the term at this point. My brain is exhausted. After a 10-hour workday and now another 4+ hours out of here, I'm exhausted. It's been a 14-hour day. My back is killing me. Position the threaded spring platform 4 inches from the top. So I did that. And then the crossovers, I did at 8 inches. Now, I'm gonna go off them because they're professionals. I mean, they are one of the main sponsors for NASCAR Cup cars. They run these on NASCARs, like Hyperco knows their stuff. So I'm gonna go off of what they recommend. Now, I had the Fox tune on my coilovers previously. I did that when I started racing, and I basically used their numbers for where the springs should be preloaded to and then where the crossover tubes were. So I just went and measured, and it was 6 inches from the top of the shock down, and it was 12, and I did 12.5 to the bottom of the crossover. So I mean, that's 2 inches difference on the top, and 4 and 3, what I say, it was 12 and 3/8 or 12 and 7/8. Regardless, it's another 4 and 3/8 or 4 and 7/8 difference. And what's really weird is I obviously know I have to compress the shock down to get it on, but this crossover tube is barely on there. I guess when this is all the way compressed, this may hit the bottom of the body. Now, I cleaned these up really good. I used WD-40 on them, so they stay nice like that for a little while. I don't have, like I said, I don't have the time to turn this thing. This thing is not a show car at the end of the day. It's a race car, and it gets used and abused. So, I'm going to try and get this on. I'm a little bit worried because it's sticking out, you know, 3 inches past the end of the shock right now. But I'm going to use my old Harbor Freight spring compressors and do the top spring because it's the lightest. So it looks like I'm running a 14-inch, or sorry, an 18 by 14, 225-pound spring on the top, and a 18 by 16, 300-pound spring on the bottom. Oh no, my camera's about to die and this is only battery. So I'm going to just get this done and check back in with you before this battery dies, and I'm gonna have to pick this back up again tomorrow after the camera charges. But I'm gonna get both these shocks done tonight. It's already 9 o'clock. It's 8:50. So I'm gonna try and bang both these shocks out tonight. If I get done out here at midnight, I gotta be up at 6. You know, like 6 hours of sleep is enough for me. So I'm gonna get these done, and then if I have to use another shock to show you the rest tomorrow, then I do. But I'm just, you know, short time, trying to do everything I can and get some stuff done. So I'm gonna set you up here until this camera dies. So I've got my spring compressors, bang. You guys can see me, I can adjust it a little more. I got it there. So I'm gonna do these on the tops. Oh no, I'm not gonna do it on the tops because I hit the shock body. Man, all right. Well, I guess we're gonna just have to do it here. So I'll hit the shock body there, so I guess this is my only option. Alright, Oh well, is what it is. You gotta roll with the punches sometimes. And I need a little bit more. It's like, scratch my new dang springs. And that doesn't fit through there. Alright, well hopefully I can get enough out of this to get this bottom collar back on. And I don't have a dang battery. Like, it's been a long day. I'm going crazy right now. Come on, dang it. Okay. It's a little tight. So then this one, we're gonna have to go here and hope. I think it's gonna hit. I'm trying to go up, so it's gonna have to go here. And then same spot. Fits, bang. And there. Run this one up. Started. Oh. There we go. Going too much sometimes and it's binding up on the shock. Okay. Let's see if we're close. Let's see if I can get this cup on there as it fell to the ground. All right. Oh, it's so close. Can I fit it in this way? Oh, I can. All right. So push this up. Then we're gonna go around. Okay. All right. So it looks like it's on there and everything. Is lined up right there. Or wait. I need to go look at the other shock to make sure I put this on the right way so I can still get to my rebound. I don't know, remember if the rebound is in the front or in the back. And the rebound is in the back, so I need the cover on the front, which like I have it. So let's loosen this bad mamma jamma up. Gotta put it right here. Loosen this one too fast. Crap. And I couldn't get my socket on. All right. Well, that's one done, and I'm going to knock out the other front one. I'm kind of upset that I just freaking, I guess we're good. I really thought I just messed up the powder coat on these, and I was going to be sad because they weren't cheap. I paid full price for them, so. Yep, I mean, they got a little dinged up sitting on the table, but voila! We got a new coilover. Not a new coilover, but some new springs. It's at the very bottom, that crossover is. So we'll see how it goes. I kind of want to, I should have done that. I should have been thinking and made the Hyperco on the outside so you would have seen it. So when you would have looked up, you would see their logo because, you know, they're going to be a big help to the program. So I'm going to check back in tomorrow. It'll be a new day. And I'll have the other front off and we'll do the other front and go over it. But that's kind of it. It's, you know, it's super easy. We went 4 inches down, then 8 inches to the crossover, and basically, you know, put the new thing on. All right, checking back in. I am not sure where that last clip left off. My camera died like I said it was going to. But we're back in the garage today. It's a new day for me. Same video for you. But I'm getting back into the swing of things. I don't really feel great today. I kind of have a pounding headache, but we're 2 weeks away from Red Bull and there's still a lot of stuff to get to. And I need to take advantage of every single day I can because there is a lot to do and I just got to get to it. So where we left off, I don't remember, but the rears are done. So both rear shocks are in on both sides. If you notice, I changed my number plates because that's what you need to run for sportsman class. In Red Bull, it has to be a 10-inch it has to be 8-inch tall letters. The numbers have to be at least 8 inches tall so they can be seen. Yellow background, black numbers. So as you see, it is still on a jack stand, so this is not final ride height. You can definitely tell by the angle of everything back here. But this one is in. This one is also in. They're tightened up and they are tuned to what they say. And I have to show you guys these because my garage is a disaster. But I used to have a plasma table in here, just a small Langmuir Systems 2x3. And these are the number plates that I made on my plasma table. So I run these when I'm not running Red Bull because I made those and I like those a lot better. So, and for the racing I race, I don't need big number plates right now. When we go to Ultra 4, it'll be a different thing. But got the rears done, got them tuned like they said, so I will just go over those settings with you, which I would not go off these settings unless you buy Hyperco coils. Now, I would highly recommend these coils because it's gonna make a huge difference. So, in the rears, we did top of the shock body to 4 inches down for your, you could say ride height, but it's really your preload. And then 8 inches down to the bottom of the crossovers for that. So we did that. And then the rear ride height should be 18 to 19 inches with stock wheels and tires, including ground from lower A-arm bolt, which, as you see on here right now, is not stock wheels and tires. My Can-Am came with aftermarket wheels, and it actually came with these 30s over here that have studs all in them. So these 30s that are knockoff BFGs that came on those wheels, but I studded them for Red Bull last year, had a tire failure in qualifying, which sucked. And my dad also has a Can-Am, shout out Grace Electric, and he brought me his stock 30s and Bighorns on stock wheels. So we hurried up, put studs in those. He said one had a little bit of bead leak, and I put too many studs in them, I want to think, which honestly I had less studs in these compared to those. But I was coming around a corner on lap 1, running in second, and went to throw it into a corner like I would in the dirt, and then, you know, it kind of slide around. Well, it just gripped and then pulled the inner bead out, which sucked. So I pulled the inner bead off. I didn't have enough air in the tires. It's a learning experience. I never run studs other than this one race. First time I ever ran studs. So sorry to ramble on there, but I'll check back in this video of where the ride height is compared to the stock wheels and tires because those are going on for Red Bull. So for our shock settings, our rebound was 15 clicks from fully closed. So we went all the way to the right, which is fully closed, and then did 15 clicks out. And it's, I want to say it's like 1/8 of a turn. You can feel it click every time. It's just a small little nudge. So I did that. And then our high speed compression, we went fully open, which was counterclockwise. So fully open on those. And then low speed compression, 2 turns from fully closed, and fully closed is if you were to go clockwise. So I went all the way clockwise, and then I took my wrench from right there, and I went out, and I counted, and there's 2. So if you don't know, one thing that I learned with this, I'm not a suspension expert, but high speed and low speed compression were the exact opposite of what they thought they were. So your low speed compression is actually when you're jumping, so big jump, your shock extends all the way out and then comes all the way back in. And your high-speed compression is like when you're in your chatter bumps. Boom, 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 and your shock's moving at a fast speed rate. Not you driving fast, but your shock is actually... So that was something that I learned. So if if you're out riding and you're doing a little bit of testing, that's a good way to know. But getting back in the swing of things, I slept on this for the night. I got one of these done. And I've got this set up where the fronts say to go 5 inches. It says go 5 inches and then 9 inches for your crossover. So I actually ended up, let's see if that'll focus. So 5 inches, 9 inches. I went 4 just because these springs were not hard to get on, but I kind of scratched up the rears by using these stupid Harbor Freight ones that, I mean, they work, they get the job done, but they scratch the crap out of your shocks. As you see, I put a bunch of electrical tape on here to try and save it, and it didn't work. In hindsight, I wish I would have spent an extra $100 and bought the nice spring compressor that has the plastic guards on it, and it actually would have went the whole shock. You would have been able to compress the springs better, but it's too late for that. Don't have time to do it now, so we got one left. We're gonna just kind of roll with it. Now, we've got our shock all the way cleaned up, got our bucket of water there, we've cleaned all these shocks, and I've got everything set up to the top. That was one thing I noticed on the fronts before, was I ran these all the way up to get these springs on a little bit easier so it wasn't so hard to do. I had to actually compress the spring less with those. So less pressure on those meant less scratch marks, and then I kind of just spun the shock and kind of hit it down with a hammer and a chisel to get it down to 4 inches. I'm like, oh, that's fine, after I sat there for 15 minutes doing that, but that's not the answer. I'm gonna compress those down and get those down to where they say for their specs, because I mean, it's your preload. It's not just your ride height, it's also your preload for those. So I wanna go with what they say off their tuning because it's gonna make the most sense. Now, I'm going to get these bad mama jammas on. Set you around the,
Not do just as this.
Oh my goodness. Go clean it then.
No.
Well, that's what you're doing. Go wash it out.
You wash it.
No, I'm busy.
Pants.
Anyway, I'm gonna get these put on and set you up and throw the camera over here and kind of run through this really quick. Alright, so like I said, I better move my crossovers where they need to be. So those need to be 9 inches. So the nice thing about cleaning these things up is everything is super easy to move. Now, last time, I went off of where, oh wow, they actually need to come down a little bit. I'm going up, they need to come down. So I'm going to mark it with my fingers, spin this one down really quick. Get me at least really close. Then once I get this one, I'll be able to do the other one in a second off camera. Alright, let's see where that puts me. 9 inches. Crazy. Do the double finger method, get this thing spinning all the way down. That's the nice thing about having clean shocks. This stuff moves nicely. The rears were awful, and I mean awful. They're so gummed up from being in the back of the Can-Am. So that's tight enough for now. Once it's in place, but that's exactly 9 inches. It's crazy. So we still got our collar up there. Short spring on the top. Now let's make sure it's the right way. So boom, all the way up. Got this all cleaned up. That can go on. And then throw this one on. I'm pretty sure I only have to compress this a little bit compared to having to have it. If I were to have this at 5 inches, I would probably have to compress this spring down 6 inches at least. Where now I am right, really close to the end there. I don't know if you can see that, but I'd say an inch. I could actually probably push this down and do that, but I'm not going to. So I'm going to throw the spring compressor on here, get this thing on, so I can put my spring holder on there, and get this thing moving. I have a bunch to do. So I'm trying to just get every little project done that I can as quick as possible. But again, if you have the extra time and have the extra $100, it's well worth it. I've seen them get used before. I wish I had one. I wish I knew somebody that had one, because I would have called them and borrowed them, at least for this last spray. So got a little tension on that one. Okay, now actually I'm gonna go like this. As simple as that. Now, these do have, okay, the fronts don't, but the rears have a certain way that these go. They actually click on there a proper way. So I'm about to slowly watch my fingers, which that's super unsafe. Okay, that one's on. That one's almost. Yes, I know I'm running an extension on here, and it's not an impact, and it's got a bunch of deflection, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So, now, we're ready to go, and we just have to set our preload. So I'm going to throw the camera off and set the preload on these really quick, and get the other one matched, and then I'm going to get these thrown on, and by the time that they're thrown on, I'm going to get it off jack stands, get it all ready so I'm not just talking, and we will measure on stock wheels and tires what our ground height is and take this thing for a ride. I'm super excited to feel the difference. I wish I had something before. I'm going to look on my phone and have some clips from before, but obviously I won't be able to create the same scenario for the time frame. Like, I would actually like to go through a section with stock suspension. That would have been the main goal, and then do it with these Hyperco coils and, you know, seeing the difference between the two. But I'm gonna get these thrown on and I will check back in a minute. Alright, checking back in. I'm not in the garage, I'm in my work clothes, I'm in my office editing this video about to go up for you guys. So I left off the video where I was going to take measurements of where the ride height is on the 30s. It is now Wednesday the 15th, 2 days before, actually a day and a half before I have to tech in for Red Bull. For the Red Bull Snow Scramble, and my machine is still in pieces. My new Halo diff showed up, so I've been installing that, running the wiring. The front end's going all back together tonight, so to get this video out I have to edit this today so that I can finish doing it tomorrow while finishing the Can-Am. I have way too much stuff to do, but I appreciate you making this far in the video. I will give you all that information in the next video, in the beginning of the Red Bull Snow Scramble video, because I did take measurements. So thank you for making it this far. Again, I'm sorry there's no real closer for this one. It was a last minute thing, just like how all my racing is last minute. As you've seen, I've been prepping for the last 3 weeks for this race, and now I'm a day and a half away and it's still not ready. So trying to do YouTube and that. But I'm gonna leave it out at here. Thank you for making it this far in the video, and we really appreciate your views and your comments. And we will catch you next Friday for Red Bull Snow Scramble, the recap, drone footage, racing stuff. It's gonna be a good one. So make sure you stay tuned for that, but I'll catch you next week. Thanks for tuning in. See ya.